As we continue to celebrate 20 years of BCSN, presented by First Solar, we recognize some top coaches of the era, including Jerry Sigler. The former Northview girls basketball coach led the Wildcats for 37 years before retiring in 2013. His teams won 675 times, losing just 117 games in Sigler's time there, on top of many accolades and championships. Our own Mason Lowry sat down with Coach Jerry and asked why he became a head coach.
Jerry, let's go back a ways. What got you into coaching in the first place? What made you want to make this your life's work?
You know, I really don't have an answer to that. When I think about it, what got me into it, I was, at that time, when I first started out, I was teaching elementary PE in Sylvania. And for some reason, I just went to a game and I decided that, hey, maybe I can do that. I had followed a very successful coach at Pemberville by the name of Frenchie Flair. So I lived across the street from the gym. And when I was a young kid, and I would go over and watch his practices. So I thought, we'll give this a whirl. So I contacted the AD, Mr. Jim Glaze. And I said to him, hey, I'd like to coach. And he said, okay, we'll see how this works out. So one day he calls me and he says, hey, he said, I have a position for you. And I said, oh, great. He said, just want to let you know, it's a girls' job. You'll be coaching JV girls. And then he said, you may last 1 year.
In case you don't make it through the full year.
Right. He said, this is not exactly what you wanted. But he said it is a coaching position, and you know, it ended up being a pretty good stepping stone for me.
No kidding. It's a foot in the door, if nothing else.
Yeah, it was. And I just so happened to have a great class at that point, the JV kids, at my first year. And that just put everything into motion. And, you know, once you win and once you're successful, you tend to have a lot more kids involved that want to get involved, as will be the case now after Caitlin Clark, who's just blown things away here. We actually have, up in our neck of the woods, we have schools that had a hard time fielding a varsity girls team this year, let alone no JV or freshmen.
Jeez.
And that's going to change now from what they've seen with her. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
I'm glad you mentioned Caitlin Clark, because we're now in what feels like a golden age of girls and women's sports. She's had such an impact on the game. Dawn Staley at South Carolina as a coach, and Angel Reese. And the list is very, very long of nationally well-known names in women's college basketball. What was it like for young girls back when you started in the mid-1970s?
You know, it just seemed like it was a lot of experimenting. The girls, they wanted to play, but they just weren't sure what it actually took to be successful. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, girls are pleasers. They're going to do whatever they have to do to please you as a coach. And it was a growing kind of thing. But once again, when I fell into this group that was there that year I took the JV, they lost one game. And from there, they were all back. So it just was a matter of, you know, here we go. You know, we're on a ride here. So a ride that lasted 38 years, I guess.
Throughout those 38 years, what are you most proud of?
Well, you know, it's just like I just got done talking to Nikki McCoy, one of my former players out there.
And now a colleague of mine at BCSN.
She wanted to have some more of my basketball stuff. So, you know, that's pretty neat to watch these kids, how they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're, you name it. They're very successful. And it just makes your day when you see one of them, they still call you coach. You know, that makes your day.
That has to feel awesome.
Yeah, it does.
38 years at Northview. You're a head coach, and a darn successful one of the winningest head coaches in girls basketball in the state of Ohio. You retire and you end up as an assistant coach for the boys up in Onstead, Michigan, where you live now. You worked with Austin Davis, who had a very good career at Michigan, especially down the tail end of it, and his younger brother, Aiden, who's going on to play at Wright State. How big of a change was that for you? You hadn't been an assistant coach since the mid-1970s, and you'd been coaching girls for all that time. How much of an adjustment was it to kind of take a little step back and work with the guys this time?
Well, I'm still adjusting to it. It's definitely when you've been the guy, that's it, the head of the ship, you know, for 38 years, and all of a sudden now you're just sort of a guy that's there for stuff to be bounced off you, you know, for the coaches that I work with to say, hey, what do you think about this and what do you think about that? Instead of actually making the decisions that have
Sure.
to be made right now.
Do you find yourself coaching players more, or at this point kind of coaching coaches more, if that makes sense?
I find myself coaching, that's changed. I was coaching the coaches more when I first started, but lately it's been more of the kids.
Okay.
I'm like, there has to be a good cop and a bad cop. You can if you ever believe me saying that, but that's my role. I see the kids in a totally different light than the head coach does. I just do, only because I see stuff that goes on and I know that I did that and that worked great, or that's probably not a good idea. And those are the kind of things I like to share. That's difficult sometimes. It's, you know, it's like me telling you how to be a broadcaster. You know, that's probably not going to work very well. But
I can always stand to learn a few things, Jerry.
I don't know what that'd be. You've been very successful. Yeah.
You're too kind. At this stage of your career and at this stage of life, what's a good day for Jerry Sigler now?
Well, we try and get out for a walk. There's always something at a lake house to do, always. It just never stops. And that takes quite a bit of our time right there, keeping the lake house up.
I can imagine.
We have grandkids spread out all over everywhere. I've got two of them that play softball in Chicago. And I've got four of them in Florida who are 24 and older, who have jobs, but they're not involved in sports. So we like to go see the grandkids in Chicago because they're close. Even though it's 4 hours away, it's still close as opposed to St. Pete, Florida. But, you know, my wife, she's been my everything here. She just fell and broke her neck here about two months ago.
Oh my gosh.
And so we've been dealing, I found out a whole new life here because she can do nothing.
Oh man.
And I've done everything. I've learned how to wash the clothes again. I've learned how to clean the house again. I've learned how to cook. All these things that I once knew before I was married, guess what? Now I've learned how to do them again, but she's doing much better. I mean, she's finally recovered.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, well, and she follows me everywhere with these sports. She absolutely loves, you know, she was my scorekeeper. She was the boys' scorekeeper.
Wow.
At Northview for 20-some years, and she was with me for, I don't know, 20, 25, 30 years, and she loves her sports, and we just enjoy time together. I mean, we're going on 55, so
wow.
We're going to hopefully make 56.
I hope so too, Jerry. Bless you, man.
Thank you.